Welcome to yet another episode of Clean Cooking Talks with Nelly Salvatore. With me, I have a couple of people from different organizations, and they have been part of the implementation of this project. They're going to tell us what they have been doing, and please welcome with me.
My name is Dr. Mwasura. I'm the CEO and a co-founder of WANA Energy Solutions, a company which distributes and markets clean cooking and lighting solutions here in Uganda. Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Thank you.
My name is Wahilington, Managing Director at Bio Energy. Also, Bio Energy innovates, manufactures and distributes clean cooking solutions such as improved cookstoves and briquettes.
Yes, Karine. Please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Nelson. I'm Karine Buma. I'm a senior specialist at ICLEI Africa, and I'm also managing this ENACT Project, which aims to improve clean energy, or specifically clean cooking access for the urban poor living in informal settlements.
Please tell us about ENACT Project and what you have been doing in Uganda so far.
The ENACT Project, ENACT stands for Enabling African Cities for Transformative Energy Access. We usually just call it in short ENACT. And basically, this project is funded by the UK government to start with, the FCDO, through the Transforming Energy Access platform that is managed by the Carbon Trust. And we've been implementing this project with, we as ICLEI Africa have been implementing the project with Mercy Corps Energy for Impact for over 3 years now, I think since the end of 2020. And basically, the project is being implemented in 2 countries, in Uganda, specifically in Kampala, and in Freetown in Sierra Leone. And the aim of this project is to provide clean energy and specifically clean cooking access for the urban poor that are living in urban informal settlements. And why we chose this niche is because most often these group of people are left out of the discussion. For lack of a better word, neglected, because there's a lot of focus on rural electrification programs now, a lot of focus on off-grid energy, and now, of course, electrification of formal areas, ensuring accessibility and reliability of grid supply. But then the uniqueness and the needs of these informal communities and their complexities are usually not dealt with as they should be. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity that we've had as partners working on this project to unpack what that is, what that need has been for informal settlements, especially the ones we've been working with. And in the case of Kampala, we've been working very closely with the local government authority, which is Kampala Capital City Authority, as well as the Ministry of Energy as our focal or our entry point into the city. But of course, we've engaged with multiple stakeholders in the space, a lot of private sector entities, a lot of national government departments, local government departments, even the central division, and we've tried to bring in even other cities, other districts to learn from the work that is happening here. And basically, for us, the way we've framed the approach for the project in order to enable us improve access for these people, households and businesses in this informal settlements, specifically Kisenyi and its environment in this case, we saw that this cannot be done by the public sector or the private sector alone. So our role as the partners, Energy for Impact and ICLEI Africa, is to create that enabling environment where the public sector, mainly KCCA and national government, can work very closely with the private sector to really engage and improve access for the urban poor that need it the most. And we've been doing that through 3 main pillars. The first one being engaging constantly with those public sector entities, mainly the national and the local government, supporting them, building their capacity, helping them see the linkage between clean cooking and their respective national and local government priorities, supporting them with evidence to inform policies and decision making, supporting them with the tools that they need for this. For instance, there's a tool that we're developing to show the linkages between clean cooking and climate, environment, forestry, economic benefits, gender, and a range of other products that have been developed as a result of this project that unfortunately we cannot cover now. But one of the key areas for us for this project has been to foster partnerships also between private sector entities and private sector and public sector, as I said earlier. And that's where the second work package came in, where we and our partner organization, Energy for Impact Mexico, has been leading that component of the work, where we've been providing direct support to the private sector. And this is a range of different aspects of support, which includes first and foremost the funding, which is coming, of course, directly from the UK government through us to the service providers on the ground, but also the technical assistance that they need to implement a project of this nature in a place where they've had engaged in before this project. And the third component is disseminating all the products and knowledge that is coming from a project of this nature, and awareness creation, because we've come to realize even more than we thought that awareness is very critical for all levels of stakeholder groups, and we've been trying to promote that a lot through this project. So linking this to our support to the private sector and our work in Kisenyi, we through a competitive bidding process, issued a tender sometime last year, towards the end of last year, for service providers to implement clean cooking technologies in Kisenyi, contextually appropriate clean cooking technologies. And we had done some groundwork baseline assessments with the help of ACT Together. And through the tender that we received really good proposals. And at the beginning of this year, 2024, we appointed a consortium made up of WANA Energy Solutions and Bio Energy. And I'm really glad that we did that. And they really put together a good package of support of interventions that they're going to implement in the communities. And they've done an amazing job within the few months that they had on this project. And I'm really keen to get their own sense on what their experience has been.
Let's hear how the consortium has managed to get this project done, and I know it has been successful. In a very short period, they have done a lot of work. So we'd like to hear from them, and we see how they have managed to do it.
Thank you very much, Nelly. Thank you very much, Karin. Of course, at the forefront, we acknowledge the efforts of ICLEI and Mercy Corps. It's really been very tremendous. Then secondly is to also highlight the impact that the project has created on the companies, and of course the ultimate benefits for the communities in Kisenyi.
Yeah.
I think those are very significant points to look at for us as the companies. Then the other last point, the idea of synergy, where companies, of course, that could have been assumed to be competitors are actually leveraging each other's strengths, each other's weakness and of course leveraging our different partners to deliver clean cooking solutions for the urban poor, who would have otherwise not been in position to access these solutions. Now, I think for me, it is a winner that this synergy has made a lot of sense for our community members who are at our hearts. And when we say who are at our hearts, it is backed up by our vision of making sure that energy poverty is addressed and no one is left behind while we provide the solutions.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
That's a very good point, and would like to hear from Dr. Emi to see how you have managed to make this work, especially now that you managed to work with a different company, which is almost could be viewed as a potential competitor, but you've managed to merge and bring all your strengths together to make this project a success. So please tell us how you've managed to do that and what you have managed to achieve together.
Thank you, Nelly. As I speak right now, I think Karin and Mr. Green Bio, that's how I call him, Mr. Green Bio, they might have summed up each and everything. I've known Mr. Green Bio for a long period of time.
Yeah.
This is not the first assignment. We have worked together, and the product they sell, I think his immediate bosses at the time were my colleagues and were my friends. We we won. We got an award from Seed Innovation together.
Yeah.
And we built up that togetherness for some time when we were in Nairobi. Seed Innovation is from Germany, but we met in Kenya and we made friendship. So when we came here, I managed to meet Green Bio on some two assignments which we worked together. So when we went for ENACT, we just didn't pick someone whom we thought that was in the market.
Yeah.
But I picked him because he was a friend, and was also selling something which I believed in.
Yeah.
In Uganda, we have different stratas of social communities. Outside there, they are strategized in social class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is something which is outdated, but I think for us in Uganda, it's still viable for us to strategize our own community social setups. Now, people who live in social class 5, let's say, for example, they might not be in position to access products which are accessed by people in social class 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think I will be making a lot of mistake if I say I want everyone in Uganda to access liquefied petroleum gas as their cooking need. It is true,
Yeah.
LPG is an aspirational product. What do I mean that when I say it is an aspirational product? It is aspiration in such a way that when somebody sits around says, I wish I had the money, I would use the product. And most especially those people who have ever used it, who have ever seen it working somewhere. If they compare with their current or the sources of energy which they are using, trust me, they would. But of course, having come together with the Mr. Ziwa to deliver on this project was just that we realized that in this community where we work and live, there are people whom, even if we say, okay, we are going to give them this product like LPG to start using, or an EPC, you might find out that they might not sustain over a long period of time to use these products. So we still think the way we are set up that we have a community which has to use briquette. And actually someone was telling us that it is not called an improved cook stove. It's called a clean cook stove. Okay? Yeah, we have moved away from improved to clean cook stove. So we have that community which has to use that. And when we looked around, when we were writing this proposal, the very first person who came in mind was Mr. Ziwa, just because of the way how we connect. Yeah, I might have had a lot of friends outside there, but probably we don't connect. We have never spoken to them, we have never dealt together, and you don't know how they work. And having looked at Mr. Ziwa, I thought, and I spoke to him, he immediately jumped on it and said, let's go for it. You understand? We didn't look at, but what about this, what about that? We didn't discuss anything further than saying we are going to deliver on this. You understand? So to us, I think the synergy, which and the chemistry, I usually call it the chemistry, which we had already built up over time. We didn't look at those other things. Of course, even a marriage, you know what it means. You marry someone, but every day you quarrel, but you come back and move. And this is what happened with our marriage here. We were on and off, but yeah, we moved on. Definitely.
We would like to know which products each one of you has been promoting in this. I know you've been doing it together, but which products do each one of your companies produce?
We no longer say, yeah, maybe talk about which products that each one produces, but not which product does each one has been promoting. No, we are now a consortium, we are a family, we have been promoting a product as one. That right now, when I sit down and I'm talking, I talk of briquettes and a clean cook stove. And when he sits here, he talks about an EPC and LPG as his own. Yeah, we are not looking at me sitting down and say, oh, a customer calls and says, I need briquette and CCS. Then I start saying, oh, no, let me call Mr. Ziwa to come and explain to you. we have the details, our staff and ourselves. We market these products as a consortium, not as individual companies.
Let me go back quickly to Mr. Ziwa. I know you've introduced the technology to Kisenyi recently. How has been the reception, especially on different products, especially I think maybe briquettes, because I believe they had already seen like an improved cook stove, but they had not used it before. But also providing both the briquette stove and the briquettes. How has been the reception?
Thank you very much, Neri. Of course, I'll resound from where Dr. stopped. So this is what we have learned. And of course, it originates from the way we proposed the model. So the model was very specific. Let people have two solutions or three solutions. A clean cook stove, briquettes, and LPG gas. Or even have 4 solutions, an EPC. I will have an EPC, a clean cook stove. So we bundled products and of course proposed the credit model that would be feasible. By then we would say, we were anticipating that it can be feasible. By now we are speaking that it is actually possible because it has been tested. If you move to Kisenyi right now, you look for Hajat Kagolo. She will show you that she has 4 energies in her house in the slum area. She's a local leader. I think LC2 or Hajat Kagolo. LC2 Hajat Kagolo in Kisenyi. She's a popular leader. All the 4 solutions are there. Now to be specific to your question. So point number 1, when we went in there, one thing was about the fear. Before we even speak about the fear that who are these people? What are they introducing? Why are they here?
Yeah.
That's point number 1, which is very common. So there was fear. How did we overcome that? There were rigorous nights where we had our operations team, our management team actually on the ground, creating rapport with the people who we call them community-owned resources. The people who are in these communities, people who understand these communities.
Yeah.
Now, when we broke that barrier of entry, before you talk about the products, we had to create a specific brand for ourselves and say, okay, we are here, present ourselves. When we broke that brand, that barrier, the next question to answer was that, will people buy the products now that they know? Because me and Doctor used to sit there, we're living with our operations team. The next question was, now we have the products. And now we need to tell these people our model. Our model begins with our vision, where everyone should access clean and safe energy for this project through synergizing.
Yes.
We broke the barrier by indicating that we bring synergy. Now we're like, well, these people, we have to put this product out. And Nelly, this is what we saw in this settlement. Products had different pricing, but the model was very clear. We're like, everyone should access, and we have put a credit model. Now the question was around, how do you penetrate? How do you improve customer care? How do you speak to these customers? How do you preach the gospel that when you have an EPC, when you have an improved cook stove, when you have briquettes, that you will actually be saving? Now that was the biggest questions. So we carried the same efforts over years. When WANA Energy started in 2008, when GBE started in 2011, that experience, we got the community-owned resources. And ultimately, the community-owned resources, the GBE management and waste management and our operations team added to the support of our partners. We call them the ENACT partners.
Yes.
And the first step was trying the partners with us. The partners made sure we made the right messages for these communities.
Yes.
Now, that was the entry point. Finding the people to work with, the synergies, and then finding the right message to communicate to these people. Now, we're now partners. It was a back and forth. I remember one of the project manager even changed. We first made materials. They came back to us and said, now we need to change. I think this was 2 months later on or something. Change the materials. Once we broke the matter with the materials, had the right messages, save money, save life, then now we started penetrating. And while we were penetrating, we leveraged the community-owned resources. They were the first people to get the 4 solutions and start testing them on a credit system.
Oh.
Once it started working for these people, now they started sensitizing their community. But we can't disregard some of the critical challenges that were happening in this setting. For example, the electricity shortages. There were so many issues. For example, political issues. We had Yellow, we had movement, Mr. Museveni, we had Mr. Bobi Wine, and we had to figure out a way how these things would be balanced. And now through the ambassador, these community-owned resources, they started communicating about the products. Now, once that communication was going through the community ambassadors, and of course, we're also using media within that community, added to what makes us special, the uniqueness of our selling processes, customer care, listening to the customers, free delivery, credit process. We started breaking the barriers gradually. But of course, to conclude, I have to admit, and of course I know Doctor will also say, this is just a droplet in the big ocean.
Yeah.
The only difference is now we feel more stronger, really ready to make sure every community member gets this solution. It is not about affordability. It is about making sure how would these people afford, and can they use the solution to see the results. And that is what we have ultimately achieved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I know you're a very busy man. You have other engagements. I'm going to let you go. And then we welcome Miss Claire to join the panel. Let Claire have the mic. You're most welcome, Claire, to the panel. And
Thank you, Nelly.
We'd like to know your names and what you've been doing on this project.
Oh. Okay, Claire Kaga is my name. I am the project manager.
You're welcome, Claire. Please tell us your experiences on the project, how the project has been. You tell us, we want to know, how have you managed to make it?
It's been a project of, I will say, mixed experiences in terms of the high, there were high moments, there were very low moments. There was so much excitement at the start of the project because we just saw ourselves getting into Kisenyi, setting up our shop and sell, people flock our hub every morning. And when we got there, it changed. We had to now know that you can't just identify a shop and set up.
Yes.
But people need to get to trust you before you fully get in there.
Yes.
So we had to devise strategies.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time is when you get some moments which are high. For example, we use the strategy of recruiting community ambassadors who are local leaders. And it was among those high moments, those really good experiences, where we got to learn that people in Kisenyi trust their leaders. And once you get their leaders on board, all is well. Of course, at the start, people picked a lot of interest in the fuel, in the briquettes. And yet most of the targets were on the 3 technologies, the EPCs, LPG, and the clean cook stoves. Along the way, actually the first 3 months, were really among those low moments. We had a lot of pressure as a team. Like we would have, I would call them midnight calls. We strategize in the morning, we end the day, we have a WhatsApp group where the sales team used to put the summary of the day. According to our targets, we're supposed to get 25 new households and businesses on a daily.
Wow.
Yeah, and there are times when you would look at the WhatsApp group in the evening and we have 9
Out of 25.
out of 25. What does it mean? That the 16 have to move to the next day, making them 41.
Yes.
So you're struggling to make 25, and the following day you have to
41.
get 41 new customers.
Yes.
So it was a trick. Yeah. So for me, actually, as the project manager, the pressure came from all ends.
Uh-huh.
One is the lady seated beside me. Yeah. Of course, since we pledged to achieve the targets, we
Let's tell
had
us
to
the
deliver.
targets. The target.
The target was 1,500 households and businesses. And these should have bought either an EPC, LPG, or a clean cook stove.
Yes.
Yeah. So each time we would get to those meetings, yes, everything else sounds good, but the real issue is how many have you reached?
And in how long did you have to reach that target?
We had 4.5 months. Okay?
Yes.
6th February to 17th June. And actually, the actual time was 6th February to 31st May for the sales. Then June was for reporting.
Wow.
So each time the day ends, we go back and check how far we have to go. And now we divide by the number of
Target.
Yeah, that means the numbers kept rising and rising. Yeah, but along the way, our partners came in April, and we had the hard talk, okay? Where
The reality on the ground.
yeah, like we were, we had a healthy discussion of, yes, you pledged to do this, and you have to do it. That's why I call it a hard talk. It wasn't an issue of getting, putting the dust under the table. No, it was real. They opened up to us that, dear partners, our clean air cooking service provider, this is the situation. You have to deliver the 1,500. So we explained to them, we have done this, we have done this. All those stories were nice, but they were not anything. The issue was targets.
Yeah.
But then when they left, yeah, we rolled our sleeves, like everyone on the project. We used to go for meetings in Kisenyi, and practically we start meetings at 9 and we leave after 8 p.m. Now we start at 9 a.m. in the morning, and the room is full. The sales team is there, us the management are there. And when we are done with those meetings, then myself, Dr. Wasira and Mr. Zua would now start ours. Yeah, as the consortium top management.
Yeah.
And we pick from the views that the colleagues had shared. What do we take and what do we leave? Do we have the means? Okay. There are times when we would change the sales team, and we call them and we say, if you're up for the challenge, come. If it's too much, you are free to go without anger on anyone's side. Yeah.
So quickly, which specific strategies did you use to make it work, and what were the results of the project at the end?
Number one,
Yeah.
we created local ownership of the initiative. We got all the Kisenyi leaders on board. We sensitized them. We trained them on how to use the 3 technologies and the fuel. And we encouraged them to buy. As I speak, most of those leaders bought all the 3 technologies, and they're even using the fuel.
Wow.
Yeah. So that bringing them on board, first of all, sensitizing them and then recruiting some of them as community ambassadors. So they went ahead of us and got into the community. By the time we would get in, the community is more prepared to receive us. Yeah, because they trust their leaders, hence what the leaders were bringing to them was a good thing. Yeah. And number two was, of course, us establishing partnerships, the right partnerships. On awareness, our partners, CBS Radio and Bukede TV, did very well. We got ACT together on board. They're already doing great work in Kisenyi. They introduced us to National Slum Dwellers Federation of Uganda, who really handheld us and took us to the community. We had ENACT, who did a very good job on also creating awareness. So those partnerships really did well. Number three, we ensured that awareness creation was key for us. Our team had to be in the field on a daily to conduct market activations to ensure that everyone they reached would be able to learn how the technologies. They used to do actually practical cooking using these technologies. So with that knowledge, it helped us to get customers on board. Number four was our sales model. One, we introduced the bundling model where a customer would save by having all the three technologies and the fuel and also credit sales.
Thank you so much. I'm going to, it looks like you really did a great job. Because,
the issue of the results. Our target was 1,500 technology, like households and businesses who had bought the three technologies. As we speak, we have gone beyond 1,600 households and businesses. Yes, the impact went beyond us actually reaching those households with the technologies. We have created 26 jobs, and some of these are actually people from the community who are majorly into the sales. And these jobs are going to continue even after the project. They are not stopping at ENACT. Then, of course, on the side of the businesses, there is a benefit of continuous sales. People who have bought LPG are going to continue coming for the refills. That's a sustained income that is coming to the company. People who are taking briquettes are continuing to do the refills, so a sustained income. Then ENACT has given us an opportunity for the whole country to know us, because the awareness creations are done on radio and TV, and anyone who watches from any corner is able to know about our technologies.
Thank you so much. It looks like you did a very good job. I'm very lucky that I was part of the team. I think I came on board as to document the project. And I have to thank you, to thank the consortium and ENACT team for trusting me with this project. And I had first-hand information, I think, even before the ENACT team learning about how it has been transforming their lives in Kisenyi, because I was part of the people that were interviewing the beneficiaries. And it was quite emotional for me looking at people that I actually thought would not afford some of the most expensive products in the clean cooking value chain, especially the EPC and the LPG. I came across a family that was using briquette stove, briquettes, charcoal briquettes. They were using EPC and they were using LPG. And this is a family that testified that before they used to use charcoal stove, the traditional charcoal stove, but it was quite challenging for them. And also they used to use a coil on electricity. And the house used to be hot because it emits a lot of heat. But now they use EPC indoors, nothing is, as they continue to do their work, watching TV and everything. And then they also use gas. For example, they said that they were using gas in a fasting period, and they were able to eat very warm duck, which is something they were not used to do before, because just they wake up, duck I think is eaten at around 5 a.m., 5 or 6 a.m.
Yeah, it's the
around
morning meal.
5 a.m. Yes, and quickly they can fry chapati, they can boil tea on the gas, and they put something in EPC. They don't need to light the stove. The stove can be used on other days. So I have to confess that you have done a very good work in Kisenyi. And I would like to hear from Karine. How does this success mean? What does this mean for ICLEI and for ENACT Project?
It means a lot. I don't have a very short response to that question, but I'm going to summarize it. To me, these are human lives that we are influencing, that we are impacting, that we are touching, we are transforming. Like you mentioned, the video, the evidence, when you had the conversations, discussions, and interviews with the people on the ground, their stories are truly, they always get me emotional. I mean, I visited Kisenyi community a couple of times. The conditions in which these people are living, you would never understand it if you just sit somewhere else and you just hear, okay, there's an informal settlement called Kisenyi. When you reach there and you face the reality, it hits differently. Yeah. Now, when this is combined with them having to cook in a very small space and being exposed to all that smoke and all the effects that it comes with, that the health impacts, and also the cost. I mean, these are people we are saying they don't have enough income, but yet they've been spending a lot of money on the foods that they're using to cook. And with the transformation that the work of this consortium has done, is really, truly inspirational. It gives me so much optimism for the clean cooking sector in general in sub-Saharan Africa. Like, people are testifying to saving a lot of money now. I think some people said they're saving up to 50%, 25%. It ranges based on the technologies you're using and the frequency you're using it. Even people working in hair salons are using the products, and they're able to save time and use that time to do what they do to get money, do the hair that they do. And this is bringing them more revenue to their businesses. This is truly transformational. And I think what this means for us as ENACT, when we started this project, we were calling it a pilot for so many reasons. No one or very little work has been done in informal communities on clean cooking. But with the success that we've recorded here, thanks to your support, the consortium, thanks to the ministry and the local government authorities that have supported us through this process, I think we've learned a lot of lessons here. We are ready to scale. Like Ms. Claire said, or Mr. Ziwa said, what ENACT has done thus far in Kisenyi, and like I mentioned, we are doing the same thing in Freetown, is just like a drop of water in the ocean. There's still so much that needs to be done, especially in informal settlements. And we already know that in Africa, there are over 60% of urban communities are informal. So this is really, we need more partners on board, and that's what we're looking forward to do. We want to scale the lessons that we've learned. We want to be able to support partners like Dr. Ziwa, Dr. Emi, Mr. Ziwa, and the consortium and other similar companies who are really willing to get into these informal communities and transform lives. Like, we are open to partnerships. We are open to more funding to scale what has been done, not only in Uganda, but also in multiple other countries, because we know that Africa is lagging behind when it comes to clean cooking access, talk less of its informal settlement. So I'm really glad, and I really want to use this opportunity to congratulate you again. You should be proud of yourselves on what you've accomplished, and also to thank my team who has made this possible, my team from ICLEI Africa, as well as from Energy for Impact, Mercy leading that team for making this happen. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much, Nelly.
Thank you so much, Karine. I think for now, you can take a break, and then I'll invite Mercy from Energy for Impact to also give us her view on the project. And I think, Claire, you can also take a break. Then I invite Mercy. Okay, let me introduce the next session. Welcome back once again. We are still on the Clean Cooking Talks with Nelly Salvatore, and I've been talking to experts from ICLEI Africa who have been implementing the ENACT project in Kisenyi. ENACT project has been implemented under various organizations and authorities, especially we have been having government partnerships as well. And right now I'm going to introduce other experts on the project who are going to tell us their names. Yeah. So I think, Mercy, you're going to go first. Tell us your names and what you've been doing on the project. Yes.
All right. Thank you for having me here. My name is Mercy Rose. I am the head of energy research and innovation at Energy for Impact, which is an energy platform at Mercy Corps. My role in this is leading the team in Energy for Impact to provide direct support to the companies that we supported in the project to enable them to deliver the solutions on the ground, but more importantly, leverage all the lessons and experiences to inform business growth and strategy.
Thank you so much. Carol?
Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Caroline Chiwanuka, and I'm pleased to be here on behalf of Kampala Capital City Authority. We are a partner with ICLEI for Africa. Whilst we might not be necessarily implementing, our role is to create a platform that allows for easy access for the people in our city to clean energy. So the project is being implemented in one of the informal settlements of Kampala, which is Kisenyi, and that is how we come in. Just to see how we can liaise between the partner and the ministry and the community at large.
Thank you so much. Mr. Lazarus?
Thank you very much. My name is Okech Lazarus. I work with Ministry of Energy and Renewable Development under the Renewable Energy Department. Ministry of Energy is in charge of implementing 3 programs as per our National Development Plan. That is energy resources, petroleum resources, and mineral development. Clean cooking falls under energy resources program, and the Ministry of Energy, we are in charge of policy development, development of regulations and standards in clean cooking, but also promoting clean cooking as a big part of our transition as a country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lazarus. I'm going to go back quickly to Ms. Rose. Please tell us what Energy for Impact, Mercy Corps, have been doing on the ENACT project and the key lessons learned from the project.
Right. I'm going to start with the support or what we have been doing specifically. The way ENACT was designed and the way we designed it with ICLEI Africa was to play to our different strengths, so complement each other throughout the delivery. So while ICLEI Africa has that experience and knowledge in local government engagement and then expanding that into national level engagement, we would then focus on ensuring that the companies that we work with on the ground really understand what is required there, that we're able to funnel the resources in the right places and respond to needs as they come along. So we, Mercy Corps did this in 3 main ways. So the first one was we went on the ground with some local partners and carried out a baseline assessment to better understand, the situation on the ground, to get a landscape scoping of the area. And this was to better understand what are people using there, how much are they spending on cooking, what are some of the gaps in awareness, what are some of the opportunities, how best to deliver solutions, and what solutions specifically would likely be accepted in these communities. And by communities, of course, I mean Kisenyi, across all Kisenyi 1, 2, and 3. So following that, we then, again, with a local partner, went on the ground and designed a communication and awareness raising strategy and piloted it. So the idea was to test these things ourselves first before bringing them to the company to understand the chances of success or failure in the messages that we were presenting, we were disseminating in the project, to the approaches that we wanted to use to deliver these messages, and of course to whom we would need to access or to work with in delivering the messages. So once that was completed, we gathered those lessons and we then went on to design them into the implementation plans of WANA Solutions and GBE, and then walked hand in hand with them in delivering them on the ground. And I'm glad to hear Claire mentioning the sleepless nights when in terms of just designing the right communication, the right messages, the right tools, and figuring out how to get those on the ground and documenting those. Now, on top of that, we understand that these are WANA Solutions and GBE are an up-and-coming company, just like so many other companies are in Sub-Saharan Africa. They are new, and therefore in the very early stages of growth as companies. So they require a lot of supporting capacity in terms of not just the delivery model, but also their own business models. And this is where my team of commercial advisors and of course myself came in to help them structure the right foundations for the right delivery on the ground, and then think about how this could feed into their own business models separately and together, so that once we exit, we've left something sustainable that's moving. Aside from that, we also focused a lot on data.
Yes.
Data. And this is not only to help GBE and WANA in making business decisions. It was also a very powerful tool, of course, later came to demonstrate to them that this could be a very powerful investment tool to help understand growth trends in demand, to better understand consumption trends, to understand which investment in awareness raising makes sense and therefore they should continue working with that. And of course, more importantly, to help them think about projections. How likely are they to saturate the market, and which other markets should they be looking at? I'm glad to see that they moved beyond Kisenyi into other communities just because of that data. And then, of course, when you look at beyond GBE and WANA Solutions, this data would also be very useful for the public sector, KCCA, MEMD, to think about how to where to invest money to get the right, results as far as social and sustainable development is concerned. Because we looked at beyond sales, we looked at jobs, we looked at CO2 emissions reductions, we looked at gender, we looked at disability and social inclusion, and all this goes into planning at a public sector. And then that is just really direct support, but we also have been carrying out quite a bit of background support in assessing the finance market. Grants are not enough, so we need to think about how to crowd in private investment, and telling stories like these enable us to elevate the companies, but then we need to ensure that this information goes to the right people, the right investors on the private side. And we have been mapping that out to ensure that we know that should we need to start thinking about crowding in more investment, there are people out there, or there are companies out there that can deliver that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that has been very elaborative. I'm going to ask Carol from KCCA to tell us how the ENACT project aligns with the goals of KCCA in terms of promoting clean cooking in Kampala, and also especially in informal settlements like Kisenyi.
Thank you once again. So maybe I will start off at the national level, and not to take away from the ministry. I'm just going to hint a bit on what we aspire to nationally. So as a country, we were part of the Paris Agreement, and on a local level, we have also come up with climate action plans at the national level, but more so at city level, which in this case is Kampala. it is very clear that our mandate as a capital city authority is to deliver quality services to the people of Kampala. And what quality services is for every individual is really unique. But it goes without saying that clean cooking cannot be overlooked or understated when it comes to living a quality life. And so part of our climate change action plan, sustainable energy and climate change action plan, included the use of using improved cooking stoves. And that was just one of the ways that we wanted to reduce on our carbon footprint in the city, because air quality is important. If we are looking at drawing in tourists, there are some people who are not going to go to a place that they believe has very poor air quality. So part of that indirectly still contributes to delivering quality services, because you are looking at the health of the people in the community, but also looking at revenues coming in so that you can deliver more services through tourism, amongst other things. So it's really a big picture, and by tackling clean cooking, you're going to handle so many challenges that we face. There have been cases of gender-based violence because a husband came home and realized the food wasn't ready because perhaps there was no charcoal, or perhaps as she was cooking, whatever it was went off, or a child got burnt. I mean, the list goes on and on. But with clean cooking, we realize that so many aspects are touched, such as safety, livelihoods are improved because people are spending less, as the testimonies have been seen and heard over time through the project. So as KCCA, we believe that we are achieving our mandate, but more so practically implementing what we said we would do, because an action plan is only as good as the actual action. So if you're not implementing what you set out to do, then it's just another beautiful piece of document that's sitting on the shelf. So it's been a joy for us to be part of ENACT and see that these things are actually happening and to report onto it, because even when you are calling for more funding, this is a platform that you can use to base on to lobby for more funding, because they realize that you're actually serious. When you commit to something, you will see it through. So we're grateful to all the partners who've come on board to help us realize this, and also for the private sector that has been very passionate in making sure that the people in the informal settlements are receiving this. And yes, that's it.
Thank you so much, Carol. Quickly, just tell us the kind of support that you've been offering the other partners on this project. What roles did KCC play to ensure that this project was a success? And also, how does KCCA support other initiatives to ensure that clean cooking projects can be successful in Kampala Capital City?
Well, first and foremost, what we did is introduce the project to the local community, because as you're aware, KCCA has two arms, the technical and the political. So you cannot get to the community without going through the political leaders. So for us to make the introduction was very key in the embracing of the project. So that is, I believe, a very key component. But also, as KCCA, we have proceeded to allow ENACT to exhibit some of these clean cooking methods in different sections of the city, but also at our offices. From time to time, we have seen stalls being set up that allow for practical awareness sessions where staff, members of the organization, can also come, because many times we seem to think that it's the people who aren't as learned or those who are living in informal settlements that need this information. But from these engagements, we've learned that even so many people that are actually educated do not really know. They are lacking in information. So bridging that information gap by creating platforms where this information can be shared is something we've been a part of. And furthermore, maybe not necessarily for ENACT, we've been part of the installation of improved cooking stoves in schools, in our market. So on ground, we are actually doing stuff through different partners. And that's it for KCCA.
Thank you so much, Carol. I'm going to come to you, Lazarus. I know time is bad on our side, but you could tell us what you think how the ministry will leverage on this success of the project to maybe scale clean cooking in other areas or in other parts of Uganda.
Thank you very much. I would like to add my voice to my colleague from KCCA to thank all partners that have been part of the project, the ENACT Project team, ICLEI team, KCCA, Slum Dwellers Association, and all other players, UNAC included. As you know, the ministry or government through the ministry aspires to achieve a target of 50% access to clean cooking by 2025 and 80% by 2027. We all know that biomass is the most widely used source of energy for the country, about 80%. And as government, it is aspired that Uganda will reduce on this overconsumption, over-reliance on biomass to about 50% by 2025. So, yes, whereas there are targets and there are strategies at national level to promote clean cooking, the project, this ENACT project, has been able to bring out some of the challenges and opportunities that we can benchmark on or ride on as a ministry to actually contribute towards that 50% increment that we want to see. For example, the issues that have been brought out about the nature of the buildings or the settlements that are inside the slum areas, where there's a snag or there is an issue about which household can get power. So they are informal, and our colleagues from KCCA apparently cannot give some permits to these buildings. So it is a little bit, it becomes tricky for the ministry to advance power to such kinds of buildings which don't have qualifications. Yeah. So maybe together with our colleagues from KCCA and all other local governments, one of the opportunities I see is a slum upgrading program for housing, so that we can be able to increase access to electricity in that area. Increased access means increased use of electric appliances. Secondly, the other opportunity that I see, engaging the private sector to come up with models that can actually promote clean cooking technologies. Like we've seen under the project, there were testimonies about how the daily payment model worked wonders. The project had existed for 3 months with few sales, and when that model came on board, the sales skyrocketed, and actually the project succeeded its expectations. Yeah, so that is another angle, the financing models for clean cooking solutions. Thirdly, we need champions. If you have a champion in a particular settlement, let us say a district or something, it is easier for you to start rolling out clean cooking technologies. For example, I would like to thank WANA Energy for their commitment towards the project and for being a champion, and also GBE as well for championing this project in the slum areas despite the challenges. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Lazarus. I think as we conclude the show, I will give a chance to Mercy, or maybe a chance to Carol, if you have any last message for promoting, maybe on clean cooking or maybe other projects that are in line with the same project like we've been doing with the ENACT. If you have any message to either the users or the slum dwellers or other Ugandans, to maybe encourage them on taking on the similar initiative.
Thank you very much. My message is simple. Climate change is real, and the responsibility is ours to make sure that we make our own individual contribution. So it's the silent killer. It's the invincible enemy that needs to be dealt with. So we can't afford to look the other way. And as such, it's just a matter of time before it's clear that we should have adopted clean cooking. So I want to call upon everyone not to just talk the talk, but walk the walk. Many of us have heard about the need for clean cooking. Of course, it's not the only way that we can address this phenomenon of climate change, but at least it's a step in the right direction. So let's not leave it up to the government. The government is us. We, the people, are the government. So we need to do our part just to make sure that we realize the change that we need to realize so that our children and our children's children will be able to enjoy the Uganda, the Africa, the world as we know it years from now. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mercy, please conclude.
Wow. I would say, and I'll talk a little bit about our experience so far. And my key message is for anyone or any development organization or other organization that's looking to do something like this, deliver energy and clean cooking solutions to those who really need them the most. Swallow your pride. Partner, partner, partner. And when I talk about partnership, I mean being willing to dedicate the right human resources across board, not just within your teams, but also within the teams in government, within the teams in private sector. Allocating the right resources, allocating sufficient time. We need to care a lot about a cause that is bigger than we are. And this is about improving the lives of the people that we have committed to serving. So it should not be about what this organization can do or what that organization can do. We have proven firsthand that partnerships can take us really, really far. So again, I will say, swallow your pride, partner, partner, partner.
Thank you so much. I think, Lazarus, 1 or 2 words, then we conclude.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to extend my appreciation again to the ENACT team and our partners for the great work done. I think it's upon us now to take it on from here to ensure that we scale up the projects from where it is in Kisenyi to all other GKM areas, but also other urban and peri-urban areas. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I think we are going to end the show here. We've been discussing the challenges and the success of ENACT project in Kisenyi, informal settlement, and I think it's been a very successful project. I would like to thank the partners that have been implementing this project, the ICLEI Africa, Energy for Impact Mercy Corps, KCCA, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. Thank you so much for working on a project like this that is transforming people's lives. I remain Nelly Salvatore, and until next time, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this video.